Hey guys, welcome back to the homestead. So today we're actually going to be making cranberry juice. Now I know there's a trend going around right now because I've seen it where people are taking the mason jars and they're putting the cranberries in and they're adding the sugar and they're adding the water and then they're canning it and letting it sit on their shelf to make cranberry juice. Now while this is a great idea, I personally don't like it. Because to me, there can be a lot of waste involved in that. Also, I don't want to have to strain my juice every time and then have to save my cranberries if I'm going to dry them or whatever I'm going to do with them. And then sometimes you just want to be able to mix juices and stuff. So for me, it doesn't work well. But who am I to tell another woman what to do in her kitchen? But I personally like to use the steam juicer. I thought this was a pretty novel idea. I'll put the link to the one that I actually got below. I don't know what the cost is on them now, but I will show you the one that I got off Amazon. But it's kind of a pretty neat contraption. You just put the water down here in the bottom, and then in the center, this is where your juice will actually be collected with the distillation process with the steam. If you want to sweeten it, you will go ahead and put your sugar in here. I go on the lighter side of the sugar because if I want to blend it with cranberry apple or cranberry grape, right, it's not too sweet and it kind of retains its tartness. Up here I have about 9 pounds of cranberries. I don't know if those are picking up too well, but they're kind of nice. I actually found a really good special, now that we're after Thanksgiving, headed to the next holiday. A lot of them have gone on sale, so you can pick up a pretty good deal on them. But the great thing about it here is you can kind of put in as much as you want as long as you can get your top on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let this slowly heat up. And then once it gets to temperature, we're going to let the cranberries cook down for about an hour. Now, from there, we'll take and we'll run our juice off through this lovely little port we have here. And then by that point, you'll see I'll have my steam canner sitting over here ready to can up the juice. Then what are we going to do with this leftover pulp? We're going to take what's left over of the cranberries and we're going to put them in our dehydrator to make a cranberry kind of fruit roll-up, if you will. So I'm going to let this heat up. Once it gets up to temperature and it starts to make juice, we'll come back and I'll show you that process. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. I've got my temperature at about medium, so it's slowly heating up, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's steam starting to build up. So now that the steam's building up, we're just going to kind of watch it off and on. The directions that came with the steamer said cranberries you do for about an hour. So I'm just going to kind of run around the kitchen, do different things, stay on top of stuff, start prepping out my jars. As you can see, I've got my fruit saver already lined up, ready to go. And I've got my dehydrator starting to pre-warm too. So that way everything's kind of ready to go once this pulls together. So yeah, we're just going to sit here and watch this and watch the berries kind of break down and come back in about an hour and see how much juice we've gotten. We'll take it all apart at that time so you guys can see everything. It's just showing you part of the process so far. As you can see, the berries are now starting to split and the juice is coming out of them. We still got about 45 minutes. So now we have about 20 minutes left and you can see the texture's changed and the berries are really breaking down here. So we're getting close. Okay guys, it's been an hour. These have cooked down as I showed you a little bit through the process. So what we're going to do is I've already turned my heat off and we're going to take our juice. Well, they really ill-timed that. We're just going to set our cranberries, our pulp off to the side. There is juice in there. My spoon run off too. Like I said, I just put a little bit of sugar in here. So now you're just going to take it, run it around to make sure your sugar has dissolved. Let that sit for a minute. I'm going to put the top back on after I burn my hand. I'm just going to let that sit. Now that I know my sugar's stirred up well, I've got my jars sitting here. I'm going to let this sit for just a minute to make sure that everything is set up, and then we'll start jarring them up. Okay, so we've got everything where it needs to be. Now the cool thing about this is it actually comes with a dispenser. Now you can, if you want to, hold your jars down here, but it's going to get hot and I'm scared I'll drop it. So I kind of prefer to have the hose where I can kind of control what's coming out and then just fill up my jars without burning myself. Again, Murphy's Law. Sarah's in the kitchen. She's probably getting burned. So we'll just start to fill up our jars. Kind of at this point you can decide if you want to do a concentrate or if you want to do a dilution. Just depends on how much juice you end up getting. Or if you want to pre-mix, if you want to go ahead and pre-mix it, or if you want to have some later, how you want to do it. Yeah. So I'm going to finish filling these up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got them all jarred up. Did the same process as we've done on all the other ones. We have taken our vinegar, ran it around the top to make sure nothing comes between our lid and our jar. Everything right here. And these, again, you're just going to want to take them and fingertip tight them. Once we have them on tight, we'll just fingertip tight. Wipe jars down. And we're going to let these process for about 20 minutes in the water bath. Well, the steamer, aka water bath. And I'm doing it for 20, right, because of my elevation. Where you're at, you might actually do less than. Just okay. Just make sure you do what is needed for your area. And then once we get these set up and ready to go, we're going to take our leftover fruit and start dehydrating it to make fruit leather. There we go. We're just going to let our pressure build up and then we'll start our timer. Turn our heat back just a little bit. And now we wait. Okay, so we are just about ready here. So let me set my timer. Wonder if we can get this all done at the same time. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that. Alright, got the timer set for 20 minutes. That way that's done. This is the fruit pulp that we're left over with. And as you can see, it pretty much takes everything out of it. So I have these silicone mats here that go in my dehydrator. If you don't, then of course you can put them on parchment paper. And what you're going to do is you're just going to take it and put a thin layer on each one of these mats. Get you something that'll let you smooth it out quite easily. Then we can always come back and fill the gaps in when we need to. Doesn't have to be perfect. And try to make it as nice as we want to, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Actually smells really good. You guys are going to hate you don't have smell-o-vision. You can hear my fruit fresh savor in the back getting a little warm, so just turn the heat back a little bit now that we're up to pressure. That's thick. And the goal is to try to just get this as even as you possibly can. You don't want massively thick areas because of course they'll take longer to dry. On the tray. Okay. So now I have these about, or I have this one about as thick and even as I can possibly get it. So I'm just going to take it, pop it in my dehydrator, which I've already got set at 140 degrees. And we're going to start this at 6 hours and check it, but it can go anywhere from 6 to 16 hours, just depending on your thickness. When it comes time to check your fruit leather to see if it's really where you want it, then you're just going to kind of push on it a little bit. If it still makes like an indentation or leaves a finger mark or something like that, well then you know there's still moisture in it. The good news about this is we've already taken a lot of the moisture out of these berries in making our juice. So these should set up nice. And I'm gonna get the rest of these done, and then we'll check on our juice and see how it's coming. Okay, so that's the last one I'm gonna be able to. I've got a little left. That'll probably just go to the chickens, unless I decide to make more. I only got like 4 bags left of cranberries, so I don't know. I don't want to put a whole lot on hand. I like to do this, you know, for like when apples are in season, to make my own apple juices. Also, strawberries are coming, so it'd be nice to kind of break it down to make strawberry fruit leathers. Just about any fruit. You can actually use it to extract juice from vegetables too, but I mean, if you wanted to make your own V8 juice, might be kind of nice. So we're just going to put that in there. Like I said, I've already got my timer set for 8 hours. I'll come back at 8 hours and check on that. You guys won't be here when I do a video later in the week. I'll show you how this turned out. We still got 12 minutes on our juice here, so I'm just going to give it a minute and then I'll come back. Okay, so our timer has gone off, so our juice has processed for the full 20 minutes that we needed it to seal our jars. I'm just going to take the top off and let it air out a minute. I'm trying to figure out where my jar holder is. Oh, there we go. Some of these I went ahead and diluted. Some of them I did as concentrate. So I did 3 concentrate, 3 diluted. So I'm going to stack them on the sides that I wanted. It's more about just trying to see which one I really like. Ooh. Looks like I did 4 concentrate. But that's not mathing today, guys. It's been a long day. Okay, so we have the 4 concentrated, and then I've got 3 that I went ahead and diluted. And when I diluted, I did half cranberry, half distilled water. Just going to let these sit up. Again, same process, right? We're going to let them sit for the full 48 hours till we know they're sealed. Take the bands off, put them in storage. Great thing about this, you can use this process for any type of juice that you want to make. Because sometimes when I do my processes, so like I did cherries earlier this year, and I didn't want to just do cherries and water. So I actually had grape juice on hand, so I put grape juice on them so they have grape juice and cherry. So they have a variety of flavors within themselves. And then the blueberries I did with, the cherries I did with an apple cider, right? So I did apple cider with the cherry, and I did a white grape juice with the blueberry. So that way they have a flavor within themselves. So even when I drain off the blueberries and use them in like blueberry muffins or something like that, I still can hold on to the juice and drink it, right? So with this, when I come back and I want to can some fruits later in the year, I have juice that I know is organic, what's in it. I mean, you read the back of any organic juice or anything, there's always stuff in there that you might not necessarily want, some sort of preservative, some sort of enrichment, as they call it, like any types of those things. And if you don't want them because you have a sensitivity to it or your body can't process it, at least this way, you know that you can make juice. It's easy for your family to drink and digest. You know it's healthy. You know you can use it in other items, or you can just simply drink it. Strawberries are coming in February, so I hope to actually do something with those. Like I said, I'm going to take those and kind of blend them into the applesauce. It didn't set well up here. It just ended up being too tart. So I'm going to put the strawberries in it to sweeten it up a little bit. And then anything that's left over, I'm going to make the strawberry fruit leathers as well. Like I said, I'm going to do a video later in the week. We're actually going to, if I can get my act together, we're going to make a soap paste so you guys can actually see the soap paste that turns into liquid soap ultimately too, and the shelf life on that is 2 years. So it's kind of incredible once you learn to make it. So at that point, I'll show you guys the fruit leathers. Looks like we still have 7.5 hours, so I'm sure you guys don't want to stick around for that. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. I hope you enjoyed watching this process. Like I said, it's not the trending thing, right? It's not throwing cranberries in a jar with some sugar and waiting and letting them set. Because again, like I said, I don't like that process. But if you like it and it works for you, that's great. But this is just a different way of doing things so we know what we are eating and consuming. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Have a great day.